You've heard Medusa called a monster. But what if everything you knew was a lie? Tonight, we uncover the cursed truth, a woman betrayed by gods, feared by men in silence for centuries. This is Medusa's side of the story.
You know my name. You've heard the stories. They call me monster, serpent, killer of men. But those who carved my story into stone never asked for my side. They never wanted to know that I was not born cursed. I was made this way. And not by choice, but by the hands of gods who toy with mortals like pieces on a board. Tonight, let me tell you my truth. For I was not always Medusa, the Gorgon. Once, I was Medusa, the maiden.
I was a priestess of Athena, sworn to purity and service. Each dawn, before the first worshippers arrived, I polished the great statues, lit the incense, and whispered prayers into the still air of the temple. My hair was long, golden as fire, my eyes clear as the sea. Strangers came not only to worship Athena, but to whisper about me. They called me beautiful. They said even the gods themselves turned their heads when I walked. But I wanted none of it. I wanted only to honor my goddess, to remain untouched, untainted, and pure. Yet beauty in the world of gods is not a blessing. It is a curse disguised as praise. And soon, that curse would fall on me.
The sea god saw me. Poseidon, ruler of storms and oceans. To him, my vows of purity were nothing. My devotion, meaningless. One night, when the temple was silent and empty, he came. His power filled the air, his presence suffocated the walls. I cried out for Athena, my goddess, my protector, but she did not come. The very place where I had sworn my life was defiled. In that moment, I learned a cruel truth: gods do not love. They take. And when they are finished, they leave you broken in their wake. But it was not Poseidon who was punished. It was I. Athena appeared in fury, her eyes burning with betrayal. But she did not strike him, the violator. She struck me, her priestess, her servant. My hair writhed into serpents. My eyes became a curse. Anyone who met my gaze turned instantly to stone. My voice became venom, my face became terror. I begged her, why? I had been faithful, loyal, pure. Why punish me? But the gods do not answer the cries of mortals. I was left broken, cursed to wander the world as a horror, while the true offender walked free, worshipped as always. I fled into the wilderness. The world that once praised my beauty now recoiled in terror. Men who sought glory came with swords and shields, hoping to strike me down. None returned. Their bodies froze in terror, forever statues in my cave. Do you know what it is to live alone, hunted like a beast, yet guilty of no crime? To fear your own reflection, because your gaze kills even yourself? I never wished for power. I never sought to be feared. I only wanted peace. But peace had abandoned me. And then came Perseus, a mortal chosen by gods, armed with their gifts, Hermes' winged sandals, Athena's shield, Hades' helm. They gave him everything he needed to kill me. He entered my cave silently, but I felt him. My serpents hissed in warning, my eyes burned in the darkness. I was not hunting. I was not attacking. I was simply surviving. But to the gods, my survival was unacceptable. They wanted me silenced, erased, destroyed. The fight was swift but brutal. I lashed with my serpents, I cried out in fury. But he never looked into my eyes. He fought with mirrors, not courage. And in the end, the blade found its mark. With one strike, my head was severed. My body collapsed among the statues of those who came before him. My story ended not as a maiden, not even as a victim, but as a trophy. Perseus carried my head across seas and kingdoms. Kings used it to terrify enemies. Even Athena placed it on her shield as a weapon. My curse lived on long after my body was gone. But listen closely, I was never the monster they told you. I was a girl betrayed, punished, and erased. Remember me not as a beast with snakes for hair, but as Medusa, the wronged. And if you whisper my name, know this, curses do not die. They wait, they endure, they remember.
But myths aren't bound to the past. What happens when the cleverest spider of all time gets hold of the web we can't live without? The internet. That's a story waiting next.